There is a certain freedom that comes with living alone in your later years. The ability to set your own schedule, enjoy peace and quiet, and create a space that is entirely your own is something many people dream about. But what many don't realize is that living alone as a senior is different from any other stage of life. It comes with challenges that no one warns you about, some practical, some emotional, and some that simply take you by surprise. While independence is a wonderful thing, there are realities to living alone that only become clear once you experience them for yourself. One of the first things people don't tell you about living alone as a senior is that the silence can be both a blessing and a burden. At first, the peace and quiet can feel like a luxury. No interruptions, no compromises, just the ability to go about your day exactly as you wish. But after a while, the silence can feel overwhelming. The lack of background noise, the absence of another person's footsteps, or the simple sound of someone humming in the kitchen can make the house feel empty in a way that's hard to describe. Some seniors find themselves turning on the television or the radio just to fill the space with sound, while others embrace the quiet and learn to find comfort in their own presence. Another thing few people talk about is how much more aware you become of your own health. When you live alone, you don't have someone around to casually point out that you're walking a little differently or that you've been coughing more than usual. You are your own health advocate, which means paying attention to small changes and not dismissing them as nothing. There's a fine balance between staying aware and not letting worry take over. Some people find comfort in routine checkups, while others set up a system where a friend or family member checks in regularly. Either way, living alone means being responsible for recognizing when something doesn't feel right and taking action before it becomes a bigger problem. Mundane tasks can also feel surprisingly different when you live alone. Cooking, for example, is no longer about making meals for a family or a partner. It becomes something you do just for yourself. For some, this is a welcome change, a chance to eat exactly what they want without worrying about anyone else's preferences. But for others, cooking loses some of its joy when there's no one to share the meal with. The motivation to prepare a well-balanced meal can sometimes fade, leading to a reliance on simple, repetitive meals or skipping meals altogether. Learning to cook for one and still finding joy in the process is something that takes time. Some seniors find that meal delivery services help, while others start new traditions, like inviting a neighbor over for dinner once a week. Household maintenance is another thing that becomes more noticeable. When you live alone, there's no one else to remind you to take the trash out, change a light bulb, or call someone to fix a leaky faucet. The small things that used to be shared responsibilities now fall entirely on you. This can be empowering. You become resourceful, figuring out how to handle things on your own or knowing when to ask for help. But it can also be frustrating when tasks pile up and there's no one to split them with. Finding a balance between doing things independently and knowing when to reach out for assistance is something every senior living alone has to navigate. The emotional side of living alone is another thing that isn't always discussed. While some people enjoy the solitude, others experience moments of loneliness in ways they never expected. It's not always about feeling socially disconnected. Sometimes, it's the little things, like not having someone to share a funny story with at the end of the day, or not hearing a good morning from another person. Staying socially engaged becomes more intentional. Reaching out to friends, joining groups, or making plans takes more effort when you live alone. But those who thrive in this lifestyle often learn that social connection doesn't have to come from living under the same roof as someone else. It can come from a well-placed phone call, a regular outing, or even engaging in hobbies that bring them into contact with others. One of the most surprising aspects of living alone is how much time you spend in your own thoughts. Without the distraction of another person's presence, there is space to reflect, remember, and think deeply about life. This can be a wonderful thing. Many seniors find themselves rediscovering old interests, learning new things, or taking up hobbies they never had time for before. But it can also bring up emotions that were once buried under the busyness of life. Memories resurface, regrets may come to mind, and old emotions can feel fresh again. Learning how to manage these thoughts in a healthy way, whether through journaling, creative outlets, or simply allowing oneself to feel without judgment, becomes an important part of the journey. Another thing that few people talk about is how different holidays feel when you live alone. The way you celebrate changes when you don't have a house full of people. Some seniors find new traditions that make the holidays special, whether that's joining community events, volunteering, or making plans with friends. Others learn to appreciate the quieter moments, taking the time to reflect on past celebrations while creating new ways to enjoy the season. While holidays can sometimes bring feelings of nostalgia, they also offer opportunities to redefine what celebration means. Technology also plays a bigger role than many expect. In a world where much of daily life is now digital, staying connected through technology becomes an essential part of independent living. From ordering groceries online to using video calls to stay in touch with loved ones, technology can make life easier. But for those who aren't as familiar with it, there can be a learning curve. Many seniors living alone take it upon themselves to learn how to navigate new devices and apps, understanding that adapting to technology isn't just about convenience. It's about staying connected to the world. Perhaps the most valuable lesson that comes with living alone is learning to fully appreciate one's own company. There is a difference between being alone and feeling lonely, and those who embrace solo living often develop a deep sense of self-contentment. They learn to enjoy their routines, take pleasure in their own interests, and find fulfillment in moments of solitude. Living alone teaches resilience, patience, and an appreciation for life's smaller, quieter joys. No one fully understands what it's like to live alone as a senior until they experience it. It is a journey filled with unexpected lessons, moments of growth, and an ever-evolving understanding of what independence truly means. While it comes with challenges, it also offers opportunities to reconnect with oneself, to embrace life on personal terms, and to build a lifestyle that is both meaningful and fulfilling. Living alone is not just about being by oneself. It is about finding strength in solitude, embracing the beauty of independence, and discovering that life at any age is still full of possibility. One of the greatest revelations about living alone as a senior is how much more intentional life becomes. Everything, from the way meals are prepared to how days are structured, requires conscious effort. Without the natural rhythms that come from sharing a space with another person, routines must be created from within rather than shaped by the presence of someone else. Some seniors thrive in this freedom, while others find it takes time to adjust. Either way, living alone requires an ability to create purpose and structure in everyday life, rather than waiting for external forces to provide it. Many people assume that living alone means having all the time in the world to do as they please, but the truth is, time feels different when there is no one to share it with. Mornings may stretch on longer than expected, afternoons might feel quieter, and evenings can sometimes feel endless. Some seniors fill their schedules with activities, volunteering, social clubs, or daily outings, while others prefer a slower, more reflective pace. What becomes clear is that time must be used wisely. Otherwise, days can slip by without meaning. Those who enjoy solo living find ways to make their days feel fulfilling, whether it's through hobbies, exercise, or simply taking pleasure in life's small moments. One thing people don't often talk about is how certain tasks take more effort when living alone. Things that were once shared responsibilities, such as bringing in groceries, managing home repairs, or even making big financial decisions, fall entirely on one person. This can be both empowering and exhausting. On one hand, handling everything independently builds confidence and resourcefulness. On the other, it requires careful planning to ensure things don't become overwhelming. Many seniors who live alone develop a strong sense of organization, keeping lists, reminders, and schedules to make sure everything gets done. For those who struggle with certain tasks, finding reliable people to help, whether friends, family, or hired services, can make all the difference. Another thing that isn't always discussed is how important self-care becomes. When living with others, there are natural reminders to take care of oneself. Shared meals, check-ins from a spouse, or simple conversations that keep the mind engaged. But when alone, self-care must be an intentional practice. This doesn't just mean bathing and grooming regularly. It also means taking care of mental health, staying active, and making an effort to eat well. Some seniors living alone realize they have to become their own motivators, making the choice each day to engage with the world rather than withdraw from it. One unexpected challenge is how difficult it can be to ask for help when needed. Many seniors living alone take great pride in their independence and don't want to feel like a burden to others. But there are times when help is necessary, whether it's a ride to a medical appointment, assistance with household tasks, or simply the comfort of company. Some people find it hard to reach out, fearing rejection or feeling like they should be able to manage on their own. But those who successfully navigate solo living recognize that asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. They understand that allowing others to lend a hand strengthens relationships and creates a support system that benefits everyone. Something that also becomes evident over time is the importance of a safe living environment. When living alone, there is no one else to double-check that doors are locked at night, that appliances are turned off, or that emergency plans are in place. Home safety becomes a priority, whether it's installing better lighting, removing trip hazards, or having a medical alert system for peace of mind. Many seniors who live alone take proactive steps to ensure their home remains a secure and comfortable place to live. They also learn to trust their instincts. If something feels unsafe, they take action rather than dismissing their concerns. One of the most surprising aspects of living alone is how relationships change. Without the automatic daily interactions that come from living with others, maintaining connections takes more effort. Friendships that once seemed effortless may require more scheduling, and family relationships may shift depending on distance and availability. Some seniors find that they grow closer to certain people while naturally drifting away from others. This is neither good nor bad. It's simply part of life. Those who thrive while living alone learn to be intentional about their relationships, making phone calls, sending messages, and planning visits instead of waiting for others to reach out first. Another lesson that comes with solo living is learning to appreciate solitude rather than fear it. Being alone doesn't have to mean being lonely, and those who embrace independent living find ways to make their own company enjoyable. They develop hobbies that bring them joy, engage in activities that stimulate their minds, and create an environment that feels peaceful rather than empty. Some find that solitude allows them to reconnect with forgotten passions, whether it's painting, writing, or gardening, while others use the time to reflect on life and set new goals. They understand that being alone is an opportunity for personal growth, not something to be avoided. Technology plays a bigger role in independent living than many expect. Video calls help maintain relationships. Online shopping makes errands easier, and smart home devices offer convenience and security. While some seniors embrace technology with enthusiasm, others feel hesitant or unsure about using new devices. But those who take the time to learn often find that technology is not as intimidating as it seems. It becomes a tool that helps them stay connected, manage their household more easily, and even discover new interests. Living alone as a senior is a unique experience that comes with both challenges and rewards. It requires strength, adaptability, and a willingness to shape life on one's own terms. Those who find joy in this lifestyle understand that independence is not just about being able to do things alone. It's about creating a life that feels fulfilling, regardless of whether anyone else is there. They know that solitude can be peaceful rather than isolating, that self-sufficiency builds confidence, and that life is still full of possibilities. Living alone is not an ending. It is simply a different way of moving through the world, one that can be just as rich, meaningful, and rewarding as any other path. Living alone as a senior is a journey that few people fully understand until they experience it firsthand. It is a lifestyle that brings both challenges and rewards, requiring adaptability, resilience, and a deep sense of self-awareness. While some may worry that solitude leads to loneliness, those who thrive in independent living know that it can just as easily lead to freedom, personal growth, and a renewed sense of purpose. The key to making the most of solo living is not just in managing daily tasks, but in embracing the opportunity to build a life that is meaningful and fulfilling. One of the greatest realizations that comes with living alone is that happiness is a choice. It is not dictated by the presence of others, but by the way one approaches each day. Some seniors struggle with the idea of being on their own, waiting for others to call or visit, while others take an active role in creating their own happiness. They fill their days with purpose, whether through hobbies, learning new things, or simply taking time to appreciate the little moments. They understand that joy does not always come from big events. It can be found in a good book, a beautiful sunset, or the quiet pleasure of a well-cooked meal. There is also a newfound appreciation for the little details of life. When living alone, it becomes easier to notice the small things that often go overlooked in a busy household. The way morning light filters through the curtains, the sound of rain against the windows, the feeling of fresh sheets after laundry day. These moments become more pronounced, more meaningful. Many seniors who live alone develop a deeper sense of gratitude, realizing that happiness is not about constant excitement, but about appreciating the simple beauty in everyday life. Living alone also teaches the importance of self-care. There is no one around to remind you to eat well, to exercise, or to take breaks when needed. Those who thrive in solo living understand that caring for themselves is not just a necessity, it is an act of self-respect. They develop routines that keep them feeling strong and energized, whether that means taking daily walks, practicing mindfulness, or making sure their meals are nourishing. They recognize that taking care of their physical and mental well-being is the foundation of a happy and independent life. One of the biggest surprises about living alone is how much confidence it builds. There is a sense of empowerment that comes from handling things on your own, from managing a home to making important decisions without needing approval from anyone else. Those who embrace this lifestyle learn to trust themselves more, to rely on their own judgment, and to feel capable in ways they may not have before. They no longer hesitate to try new things or to step outside their comfort zone. Instead, they approach challenges with the mindset that they are fully capable of figuring things out. At the same time, living alone teaches the importance of staying connected. While solitude can be refreshing, maintaining strong relationships is just as important. The difference is that socializing becomes a choice rather than an obligation. Seniors who thrive in independent living are intentional about their connections, reaching out to loved ones, making plans, and ensuring that they have a strong support system. They know that just because they enjoy their own company doesn't mean they don't need companionship. They find ways to balance alone time with meaningful interactions, whether through friendships, family, or community involvement. Another unexpected lesson of living alone is the freedom to reinvent oneself. Without the expectations of others shaping daily life, there is room to explore new interests, rediscover forgotten passions, and even embrace a different way of thinking. Many seniors find that solo living gives them the space to grow in ways they never anticipated. Some take up painting, others travel to places they've always wanted to see, and some even start new careers or volunteer work. There is a sense of possibility that comes with living alone, and understanding that life does not have to follow a set path, but can be shaped in any way that feels right. One of the most profound realizations of solo living is that solitude is not something to be feared but embraced. It allows for deep reflection, personal insight, and a kind of inner peace that is hard to find in a constantly busy world. Those who find joy in living alone understand that being by oneself does not mean being lonely. It means being comfortable in one's own skin, knowing that fulfillment comes from within rather than from external circumstances. It means appreciating one's own company and finding contentment in the quiet moments. There is also a sense of wisdom that comes with the stage of life. After years of experience, challenges, and triumphs, seniors who live alone understand what truly matters. They no longer stress over things that once seemed important but now feel trivial. They prioritize their well-being, their happiness, and the things that bring them genuine joy. They have learned to let go of unnecessary worries and instead focus on making the most of the time they have. Living alone as a senior is not about simply existing. It is about thriving. It is about embracing independence, finding purpose, and creating a life that feels fulfilling. It is about recognizing that happiness is not something that happens to you, but something you cultivate. It is about knowing that life is still full of possibilities, no matter your age or circumstances. For those who live alone, the journey is one of self-discovery, resilience, and deep appreciation for the simple joys of life. It is a journey that proves that solitude can be a source of strength, that independence is something to be celebrated, and that life, even when lived alone, can be rich, meaningful, and truly beautiful.